Hey, everybody. Welcome back to an all-new episode of Morning Coffee with Kevin. I am your host, Kevin Peterson. Hey, listen, folks, before, excuse me, before we get too into the show today, before we get too deep into today's show, I want to apologize to our listeners. I have had lots of emails. I've had lots of text. I've had lots of phone calls, people asking, hey, what's going on with the show? You guys were putting out a show every Monday, and then you guys just disappeared. Well, that is true. And a lot has really been going on. And, I mean, that's no excuse for us not putting something out saying where we went or when we're coming back. But what happened, folks, is life. And, you know, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I enjoy doing this podcast. I started this podcast to just be able to inform friends and families and coworkers that worked with me here at my record label, my film production company, and, you know, every other crazy endeavor that I'm involved in. And it's, you know, the podcast really has, it's never really taken priority over anything else, especially my personal life. You know, and I've said it before in the podcast. I've said, you know, I'm going to put the show out as, you know, as often as possible. And my goal has always been to put the show out once a week, and that's on Monday. And, you know, I said that if things got hectic, then we weren't going to do that. So I was hoping that most people would have taken that as, okay, they haven't just quit the podcast, they haven't just disappeared, something must have come up. Well, to be completely honest with you, that is what happened. Something did come up. And I had mentioned in our last podcast that we are migrating the podcast over to YouTube, and we're going to do completely away with the other host that we're using right now, whose name I'm not going to mention. Some of you already know who our podcast host is, but I'm not going to mention their name because they've been really good to me. They have treated me right. They've been more than fair with me on many issues that I've had with my podcast. And I really can't say nothing about the podcast hosts that I'm using now negative. I can't say anything negative about them. They're great people. They have a great product, and it works wonderfully. So you're asking, okay, well then why are you migrating? Why are you leaving and going to YouTube? Well, I'm migrating to YouTube because that's where all my other media is. The film production company is there. The record company is there. I just thought that it would be the thing to do to move the podcast over to YouTube also. And I had mentioned that in our last podcast. I had mentioned that this is something that we're in the process of doing. I also mentioned that we are in the process of rebuilding our broadcast studio. And that is absolutely true. None of that is false information. I have been currently working on rebuilding the podcast studio, and it has been a serious undertaking. It has taken up a lot of my time. It has taken up a lot of my money, and it's just really been a lot of work. But that's not why we disappeared. The reason that we have disappeared for the last, 2 or 3 weeks, however long it's been now, is because I've had some health issues. And I don't normally talk about my personal life on the podcast, but I will say this, and that is that I have some medical issues that I need to deal with in my life. This is something that is going to be taking up quite a bit of my time in the near future, and hopefully not for too awfully long. I'm hoping that I can get my issues corrected and taken care of in a timely manner. But that is kind of why we have not been working on the podcast. And along with these medical issues, I have also been down with a bad case of the flu. So it was almost impossible to get into the studio and record a podcast. And as you can tell, my voice still isn't quite where it should be. Excuse me. I've got this cough that I just can't seem to get rid of. But anyways, the plan for the podcast is that we are going to be starting an all-new season in January. So this will technically be the last podcast of the first season, and it's kind of an abrupt end to the first season of the show. I wish things would have turned out a little bit different, but that's life, and life happens while you're making other plans. That's just the way things go. So I just wanted to put this podcast together this morning, excuse me, to let you know what's going on, and are we coming back? Are we going to continue with another season? Well, absolutely, we're going to continue with another season. And there is a lot going on in my life, and but I'm working on it, and I'm trying to stay positive about things. And that's really all I can do, is just have faith that the doctors are going to take care of me and I'm going to be fine. And just get over this cold, and just kind of get focused again on what's important, and that is my son, and getting back to making records. And so now, speaking of making records, I want to get really into today's episode. And today's episode is about releases, record releases. And we've had some difficulties getting our latest releases out due to whether it be a legal issue or whether it be due to financial issues or whatever the case may be. But we are working very hard right now to, by the end of this year, we look forward to having the first Electro Lounge record out. And most of you have heard about the Electro Lounge band through the podcast and through just information I've given you. I plan on doing a dedicated podcast, a dedicated show to the Electro Lounge band, and kind of go into the details of how this band came about, and what our plans are and what kind of music we're doing. I've talked very little, I think, about this stuff in the podcast over the last few episodes, but I really kind of want to go in deep and into depth about Electro Lounge, let you know what's going on with them, who they are, what we are, and what we're all about. So we are currently planning on getting the self-titled debut album Electro Lounge released probably in early January. And at that same time, we are going to be working on the release of the Kevin Peterson Band record, which is called Back to the Land. And also there's so many projects that are still in the works. We have another project which is called Kevin Peterson and Friends, and that is going to be a New Year's Eve concert containing performances from many of my friends that I've worked with in the past, many of the musicians that I'm currently working with. So we look forward to getting that record out, and there's just so much going on. So as far as record releases and stuff, that's what's going on there. Kind of getting back to YouTube, like I said, I'm in the process of migrating over to YouTube with the podcast and getting the podcast over there. And it's going to be kind of interesting because when the podcast first comes online with YouTube, you're going to be able to find all of the past episodes, being all the episodes from season 1 are going to pop up, and they're gonna premiere all within just a couple days of each other. So they're going to kind of pop up pretty quickly, and then we're going to start with season 2 and just continue on. So that way, once this host we're using now is gone and it's been deleted, then you will still have access to all of the episodes from season 1. And at some point, we are going to put up all of my other podcasts, even the ones that failed. We're going to put them up as reruns in a playlist on YouTube so that anybody who does want to go back and listen to some of the earlier podcasts that I've done, you'll be able to do that. And I really think that this migration into YouTube is going to be good for the podcast. I think it's going to be good for my record company, the film production company, and not to mention, I really want to ask everybody to please go to our YouTube channel. There will be a link in the description of this podcast. Please go into our YouTube channel, subscribe, comment, give us a thumbs up. It all helps to build our channel. And by you helping me build my channel, I can bring you new content. And on our YouTube channel as of right now, we have, I believe, 13 or 14 short films that my record company and my film production company have co-produced together that are up there now. And if you're really into nature, or you just want to relax, or maybe study, I've got some great videos up there that can help you do that. And that was kind of my goal, was to put some videos out that would help people to be able to just be calm and just relax. And with all of the hectic, crazy stuff going on in our world anymore, I just thought that this would be a nice way to help people to relax and just enjoy their quiet time. And I've got some great videos up there. So please, 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 listeners, will you please go to our YouTube channel? Please subscribe. Please give us a thumbs up on the videos. Please comment on the videos, whether it's positive or negative. If you like a video, let me know. If you dislike it, let me know you dislike it. And then, that will give me some ideas on what I need to do with future videos that I'm going to be putting up. And, also, why we're talking about YouTube, one of the other things that we're going to be putting up on YouTube is I'm going to be putting up a personal channel on YouTube. And that channel is going to have nothing but videos that I've produced and that other people have produced of trains. And I don't know if there's any listeners in my audience that are train enthusiasts, or maybe are involved in model trains, or, whatever the case may be. Me and my son are in the process of building a model railroad. And I say in the process, we've been working on it for about 3 years. And we probably still have another, we probably still have another 2 or 3 years before this thing will be complete. It's a lot of work and a lot of money. But I'm going to be going out in the field, and I'm going to be doing videos and just documenting trains in action from all over California. I plan on spending a lot of time in the Barstow area. I'm going to be spending a lot of time in Bakersfield, Tehachapi, out in the Tipton-Pixley area, probably Fresno area. I know in the Fresno area, you got to be careful because I know the railroads have fenced off and blocked a lot of the really good areas where you can go shoot video. And I don't know if they've done that to keep people out, to keep them from videoing. I really don't know why. More than likely, it's just probably to keep homeless and stuff out. But they've made it a little bit more difficult up in the Fresno area for us to go to these great locations and shoot video. But I'm going to tell you, I am going to have some really great footage from the Barstow area, the Mojave Desert, Cajon Pass. There's just really going to be a lot of great footage, and I look forward to getting that up on my personal YouTube channel, which will also be up soon, and I will put a link in the description when that's ready to go. So I've got a lot of goals. I've got a lot of projects. I've got a lot of things going on for 2024. It's going to be a great year. I know that. It's going to be a great year, and I'm really looking forward to ending this year with some productivity, some positivity, and that's really what I'm working towards right now. So this will be our final podcast for season 1 of Morning Coffee with Kevin, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who has tuned in and listened to the show weekly, everybody who has supported the show. And I just want you to know that I'm grateful for your support. I'm grateful for you tuning in and listening. And, you know, I never would have thought this podcast would have ever really taken off. It was, like I said, it was mainly just for the employees and the family and friends of people that I've worked with over the years in this crazy entertainment industry, for them to keep up on, you know, what's going on with me, what's going on in my personal life, my business. And I just never, ever thought this podcast would have grown to the point that it did. And I'm just so grateful to everybody who tunes in and listens, and everybody who supports the show. So God bless everybody. Thank you again. I appreciate you. I hope you all have an amazing, wonderful holiday, a happy new year, and I look forward to coming back with a all-new season and some great episodes for next year. Now, when we do come back, our first couple episodes of the second season will still be available on our current podcast host. And it will be in one of those episodes when I will give you the direction and the links to the YouTube page so that you can migrate to the YouTube channel to watch the podcast and to listen to the podcast there. Not only am I going to have the podcast up there, but I'm also going to have, like I said before, I'm going to have playlist of some of my previous podcasts in case you want to listen to them. And I'm also going to have some playlist of some incredible music. Some of it is just some of my favorite music. Some of it is going to be very rare and hard to find records. And some of those records are in my collection. Some of them do not belong to me, but I have access to them. So I'm gonna put links to those records so you can listen to those. It's really gonna be it's just really going to be better for us to do this, because this way we're going to be able to provide you so much more content than we were able to with the podcast host that we have now. And I really look forward to this. So again, I'm just rambling on here. I'm going to end the show today just by saying again, happy holidays, happy new year. God bless everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you again for all of your support. And I look forward to seeing you next year in 2024. Be good to each other. Love each other. Peace. I'm Kevin Peterson, and you've been listening to Morning Coffee with Kevin.